Director for the Overseas Territories in the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, Collin Roberts, is in the Turks and Caicos Islands and met with members of the press Wednesday morning at the Hilly Ewing Building in Providenciales, where Roberts was quizzed on a number of hot-button issues. Also in attendance was Governor His Excellency Gordon Wetherill and Chief Executive of the Public Service, Mark Capes. Roberts began with saying that he is pleased with what has been achieved by the interim government.
My conclusion is that a great deal has been achieved in the last 6 months. The Governor issued a quarterly statement 2.5 months ago which set out what had been achieved in the first 3 months, and he will shortly issue another statement which will contain all the detail of what has been going on. But a great deal of the core work has been done following the recommendations of Sir Robin Auld.
Roberts described the first 6 months as a stabilization period, referring to the country's finances. He said after much investigation, it was discovered that the state of the public finances was considerably worse than expected. He added that much time was spent on trying to reschedule the extensive debt accumulated under the previous administration. He made mention of the $85 million loan, saying that the loan will give the TCI breathing space, and pointed out that the monies isn't for any new investment to the TCI, but repayment of existing debt. However, a topic which was on the minds of every reporter in the packed room was when the TCI be able to hold fresh general elections and return to ministerial government. Roberts answered, but with a word of warning of stronger British presence after elections are called.
I've been talking to a lot of people in London and on the phone and by email over the past few months, and it is very clear that many people are thinking about what is going to happen after the return to elected government in the middle of next year. And there are a lot of different views. There are plenty of people who criticise us for what we have already done, say that we shouldn't have suspended the elected government. But there are also many people who are saying you cannot return to elected government in 2011 because there will still be a huge amount of reform work to do, and therefore the interim government should be extended. Well, it remains our intention to hold those elections in the middle of next year. But one thing that we do want to make absolutely clear is that there will not be a simple return to the position that existed before August 2009. We will not return to the same political situation that existed then. And the British government is quite determined that we're not going to allow a situation to arise in which there can be a repeat of the sort of things which happened under the last administration and which were identified by Sir Robin Auld.
Meantime, on the matter of reform in the public service, Roberts said it is still unclear if there will be any job cuts or other forms of restructuring in the civil service. He added that it is not a matter that can be worked out overnight.
Let me just say that one of the many pieces of work that has been carried out over the past 6 months hasn't yet quite been completed, but is an analysis of the public service here by a governance expert. He is developing a number of recommendations, and it's quite clear that there are improvements and reforms which can be made to the public service in TCI. Reforms of public service don't happen overnight, and I think what we would aim to do is to perhaps set the main themes of reform and begin the process, but it will have to go forward over a considerable time.
But Chief Executive Mark Capes again said the aim is to make the public service work better and to achieve an affordable public service that the public will respect. For WIV4 News, I'm Takara Bain.